and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an on my shelf tag, which is a tag I have done previously on this channel, but it is so much fun to do. Basically, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to generate some numbers that will correspond to a book on my shelves, and then I will talk to you a little bit about that book, which I will have picked out on random, give you an anecdote about it, tell you about where I bought it, when I bought it, anything I might think of, and then continue to the next book. So hopefully we will get through some random titles that I will be delighted to talk to you about. So I have my phone on me, which will help me generate a number, and the first number is going to be between 1 and 24 because I have 24 shelves behind me. So the number is 3. So I guess that's this shelf, and then we have about 20 books on that shelf. So let me generate a number. It says number 1. Okay, so that turned out to be a pretty recent acquirement of mine. This is The House of Leaves by Mark C. Danielewski. It's a book that had been on my wish list for 5 years before I finally decided to pick it up and read it. It's a horror novel, and first of all, this spine is my favorite on my shelves right now. Second of all, this book is told in a very peculiar and different manner because some pages are filled out and it takes quite some time to read them. Other pages have next to no words left on them. So it was quite an uneven reading experience in which I flew through some pages and had to spend hours and hours on other pages. It was a horror book. I'm not saying it was too horrible to read, not to my taste. I could easily read it without being too scared, but I will give it that it is very creepy the way it is told and the way the reader of this book feels like things are happening in your life. It's hard to explain, but it's a book that comes with 2 parallel stories, and that's kind of where things go awry. Also, it's a book about a haunted house, in case I forgot to mention. Let's generate a new book. First, we have shelf number 11, and that's down here, which you can't see. 7, and that book is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I remember that I bought this book some summers ago and it turned out to be the perfect summer read. I was staying at my parents' for a few days and we went to the bookstore just to scan the shelves, and I found this on sale and I felt like I need a book to read. I don't have enough behind me. So I bought it, I read it, and as I said, it was the perfect summer read because it is about a young girl and her maid who are living in a southern state in America, and it's during the summer, so it's very hot. And then one day the maid decides to desert the family and go her own ways, and our little protagonist decides to follow her. It's a very heartwarming story that I tend to think back on whenever we are in the middle of summer, like right now. I have actually thought a lot about it in the past weeks, just because it reminds me of summer and of a great reading experience. This is a lot of fun, so let's do another one. Shelf number 14. That's over there, and then we have book number 24. I don't have 24 books on that shelf, I have 19, so let's try again. Book number 2. That is Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. Yes, I have read it and have also watched the TV show, and I loved both. I'm glad that I read the book first because it is a slow-going story based on reality. If you don't know, this is about a murderess who was imprisoned back in the days, 100 years ago or so. She was called Alias Grace, and the thing about her is that she was a woman and she was deemed guilty of killing several people. And the thing is, they weren't really sure about this, so it's also the book about her experience and it's told from her perspective. So we get to hear about what really went down, and we get to hear that story from the perspective of an Alias Grace who is now an elderly woman reflecting back on her life and what happened. It was a really good book. I definitely recommend it if you like historical fiction and if you're not afraid of a slow-going story. This is a lot of fun, so let's do another one. At least I'm having fun. Next shelf is number 8. This one, my favorite one, and let's see what book. Number 3. We got the beautiful yellow Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm sure you know of this classic. First of all, this is gorgeous. It is as gorgeous in person as it is on camera, I promise you. The beautiful color, and the thing about these cloth-bound Penguin Classics is that they come with a motive that corresponds to the story, and this one obviously has some kind of a bird on it. I believe it's geese. So this is a beautiful love story, the classic love story that you keep seeing everywhere. It's not my favorite book of Jane Austen's. I think that has to be Northanger Abbey, but it's still one of the most beautiful love stories I have read and watched. I have watched the movie, not the TV show, but the movie, and I like it, both the movie and the book. So basically this is a gorgeous edition, and if you're curious, I have done previous videos about my Penguin Clothbound Classics that you can see behind me. So I will put the link to that video down below in case you want to check it out and know more about these gorgeous editions. They are the pride and the beauty of my shelves. Shelf number 16. That's down here. And then what book? Number 6. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So this is a book that's been on my mind for the past weeks because I have been in the mood to read it, but I just know that it will be the perfect read for autumn. So I'm going to save it, but it's such a gorgeous and stunning book. This is The Wicked Cometh by Laura Carlin. It comes in this beautiful naked hardback. And I believe it's a book about witches and it's about magic, and I get the feeling that it's got this very mysterious ambience to it which will suit autumn perfectly. So I will save it for later in the year, but it's one that I'm very eager to get to. I have heard immensely good things about it, and it's just a beauty on my shelves. You know I love my beautiful books. I really hope that I will also like the content, and also I really adore the gold rose color that we get on the cover and on the back. If you can't tell from the lighting, the sky is blue and it is sizzling hot today. So if I look a bit sweaty, then that's because we are in the middle of a heat wave. Let's do another one just because this is like having a party. Shelf number 23. That must be the one down there. That's one of my non-fiction shelves. And then book number 12. Let me go find it. That book turned out to be When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. And this is a book I have read pretty recently. It's a book told from a neurosurgeon's perspective. He's used to dealing with patients and giving them those very hard news about the upcoming death of them. But then one day he is diagnosed himself with terminal cancer. So it's his story about suddenly being the patient and having to deal with this fatal illness, and how this illness makes him reflect on his career and his life and his family. He actually died while writing this book, so the ending is written by his wife. And as you can hear, it was a very moving and captivating non-fiction book that makes you think on life and on how short it is, and how you really have to live every day and seize the day, carpe diem. This is a very captivating account, and that's all I can really say. I'm going to do one last book and then that will be it. So shelf number 13, book number 4. Did you even know I owned this series? This is obviously 50 Shades of Grey series by E.L. James. This is the second book, called Darker. Yes, I have read this series back when I was in my 20s, and I don't know what to say. You know what it's about, and while it was entertaining to read, it's in no way my favorite series of all time, but it was a lot of fun to read. I wasn't too repulsed by the story. I was more entertained, I believe. I haven't really watched the movies. I think I've watched the first one, but then that was enough. So that's all I can really say about this book. But I do own the series, and in case you're wondering, this is the Danish cover. So I'm going to end this tag video here. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I think this was quite a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, happy reading!